What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Paris and I make videos all about candle making and the starting and managing of my small candle business, LadyCIMONNE Candle Co. Today's video is one of my highly requested videos. How much fragrance oil and wax do I need to make one wax melt? So I thought, why not? That's a great idea. So the formula that I use to make one candle, I am going to show you how to use that same formula in order to know how much wax and fragrance oil you need to make one wax melt, which will then help you know how much wax and fragrance oil you need to be able to scale and batch out several wax melts at a time. So let's just get started. All right, so first I kind of want to apologize about the lighting. So I have our light that's right here that's shining over our dining room on. Having the kitchen light on, it created a lot of glare. We have a lot of big windows in our home, and it's in the middle of the day. And so the light is just kind of bouncing all over for the camera, and I wanted to try to avoid that so that you all can have a clear picture for me. So I apologize if it looks a little dimmer than normal. So if you're new to my channel, I am going to briefly go through what you need to make wax melt. So first you're going to need a pouring pitcher and a thermometer. This is a 4-pound. You need some sort of stirring utensil to properly bind your wax and your fragrance oil. This is just a straight-sided spatula. Of course, you need your clamshell mold or a cavity mold. They're interchangeable in how they're named. But this is what helps take shape for your wax melts or your wax tarts. You need fragrance oil, of course. Today we are using Snickerdoodle by the Flaming Candle. You need your kitchen scale. This is my new baby. I got this from Pro Candle Supply. I love it. I just really upgraded to this bad boy here. This is optional, but this is a pocket gram scale. I love this. It literally measures your fragrance oil to the dot on how much fragrance oil you need. So I love using this for my fragrance oils, but this is optional. You are more than welcome to still use your kitchen scale to measure out your fragrance oil. I did that for the longest, so don't feel like you have to get that. And of course, the star of the show is our Tart Wax. This is the 494, and I bought this from the Flaming Candle. This is optional as well, but I love it. It's so convenient. You all have probably seen this in several of my how-tos. It's easy to transport candles and wax melts. I just love it. It slows down the cooling. I am the type of one that heats my jars when I make candles, and with this being like an aluminum tray, it helps slow down the cooling. The heat goes right back in, and it just helps slow that down. I also like using this for wax melts because it keeps the clamshells leveled when you're pouring, and again, easy to transport your products when you're making them. You need paper towels, which I need to go get a new roll. But these are my industrial paper towels. I got these from Amazon. I love them. They're super absorbent when you're working with oils and wax. I love these. And then alcohol. And then of course you need a heat source. So I have my stove back here, and I am using the double boiler method today. And so you're going to need another pot, and fill your pot up with about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water for your double boiler method. So I'm going to go ahead and get this turned on, and so it can start boiling. Here is the calculation to make one wax melt. Typically, all clamshells are made universal, and they hold just about 3 ounces of wax total. So I simply Googled the conversion of 3 ounces to find out how many grams that is, and it came to a little over 85 grams. If you're familiar with my candle formula video, I typically round down. And so now we're just going to plug in the numbers. Here we are using a 10% fragrance oil percentage, which is what I use when I make my wax melts. So let's plug it in. You want to find the total weight, which we know is 85 grams. That's 3 ounces. You want to divide that by 100% plus the fragrance oil percentage, which we know is 10%. And so when we plug that in, it's 85 grams divided by 100% plus the fragrance oil percentage. 85 grams divided by 100% plus 10%. And when we bring that all together, 85 grams divided by 110%, and you get 77 grams of wax. So while that is melting, let's find out your fragrance oil and how much you need of that. So now you want to find out what's left to make up the 85 grams. So you want to take the total weight minus the wax amount to get your fragrance oil amount. So take 85 grams minus 77 grams, and you're left with 8 grams. So when you add 77 plus 8, that gets you the total of 85 grams to fill your clamshell to the fill line. And so once you bind all of that together, that will get you to the fill line. And so you can use this formula to also scale your wax melts as well. So for example, if you want to make 6 wax melts, you would take 77 times 6, which gives you 462 grams of wax. So while that is melting, let's find out how much total fragrance oil you need to make 6 wax melts. So 8 times 6, it's 48 grams. So when you measure out 48 grams of fragrance oil and you bind that with your 462 grams of wax, you should be able to pour 6 clamshells to the fill line. I recommend getting at eye level while you're pouring. Try to use a steady hand so that way you're not over pouring in one clamshell versus another, and you come out with 6 evenly poured clamshell molds. So now that we know how much wax and fragrance oil we need, let's go ahead and get our wax measured out while our water is coming to a boil. So our pouring pitcher is back here melting our wax, as you can hear. I measured out 77 grams of wax, and then I measured out 8 grams of fragrance oil. And so we're just gonna wait for that to boil. So while we do that, I did wanna talk a little bit about the 494. And so this is a tart wax. I get a lot of questions about, you know, candle wax being used as for wax melts, and you know, what do you think about the 494 and the tart wax? I like the 494. It's creamy. I mean, it comes in flake form, as you can see. It comes in flake form, so it's very easy to use. One of the things that I do really love about the tart wax is it can hold a high fragrance load percentage, 10 to even 12%. And so when I get a lot of questions about, can you use just regular candle wax as your tart wax? You absolutely can, because it's pretty much acting like a flameless candle, right? And you're just heating it up and it's melting, right? And then it releases the aroma. You absolutely can. However, the reason why I gravitate more to an actual tart wax is because of the consistency and the properties in the wax. It allows for a higher fragrance load percentage without the fragrance load seeping out of the wax. When it comes to actual candle wax, you know, wax can only hold so much. You got 494 that can hold 10 to even 12, but even going that high, you kind of have to be careful because the oils in the wax tend to seep out, and you'll get kind of those oils, and it looks like little rain droplets or dewy droplets on top of your candle, and it can also kind of do that to your wax melts as well. And so that's where, you know, you grab your heat gun and you can smooth out your candle, but even when doing that, it makes it look really bumpy and lumpy. And so I like to gravitate to an actual tart wax where I know that the properties in the wax can withhold a 10 to even a 12% fragrance load percentage. This wax holds fragrance very, very well. The cold and hot throw is on point, so I love it. So that is why I try to encourage, you know, you absolutely can use candle wax. I don't want you to think you cannot. You can. It's just like a wickless candle, a flameless candle. However, then drop my paper towels. However, I prefer to use a tart wax. I just like the consistency better. I like how it holds a higher percentage better. I use 10%, as you saw in the formula, and I love the hot throw that it puts off. And I don't have to worry about, you know, greasy or oily surfaces on top of my cured wax melts. And so again, I purchased this from the Flaming Candle. It is the 494 tart wax. I am back. I have pulled off our tart wax and I have allowed it to cool to it's right now it was at about almost at 165. The suggested pouring temperature for this tart wax is 160 degrees. So I like to add my fragrance oil around 165-ish. So again, I like to add my fragrance oil at a lower temperature, candles and working with wax melts so it won't burn off too much fragrance oil. So I pour at 160 as suggested. So I'm gonna add my fragrance oil right about now. I also do this for my candles. I add my fragrance oil at around 160, 165, but then I actually pour my candles at 140, 145-ish, around that range. So I follow the same procedure. It's just you pour a lot sooner with your wax, with this tart wax, than you would a candle wax. So we pour at 160 here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add our fragrance oil and stir for a few minutes, and then we are going to pour. All right, so we are right at 160. So let's go ahead and pour. There you have it. It is right at the brim. Let me see if I can move you all closer. So can you all see that level? It is leveled right at the brim. Here is one that I did earlier. It has cured, and as you can see, it cured right to the brim. There you have it. That is how much wax and fragrance oil you need to make one wax smell, one clamshell mold. As I mentioned earlier in the formula breakdown part of this video, you can use that formula to batch out and scale however many wax melts you want to make at one time. So I hope this was helpful and you enjoyed this video. Please go follow me on Facebook and Instagram at LadyC's Digital HQ. Follow me there. The link is in my Instagram bio. The link is in all of my Facebook page posts. And that is where you can go subscribe to get free resources, guys, freebies, and other digital downloads. I have some more in store that I'll be releasing real soon. So that is where you can also get on my email list and get weekly candle making tips and stay in the loop of all things Lady C and what's going on with the digital side of my business. This side of my business is here to help you along on your candle making journey. So I encourage you to subscribe and sign up so that way we can continue to grow our candle making community, and you can get your freebies and downloads that are there to help you with your candle making journey. So until next time, bye. There you have it. That is how much wax melts. The 12 o'clock alarm is going off right when I wanted to say my ending. Okay, it is Wednesday, so 12 o'clock noon, it's like a siren that goes off. Whatever. There you have it. That is how much fragrance oil and wax melts you need. That is how much fragrance oil and wax melts you need. That is how much fragrance oil and wax that you need. Not wax melts. Let's try it again.